just can't accept what you're seeing. Yet you're coping and seething. The truth it is scalding, and now you are molding and coping so hard. Coping and seething.
Power of one, the power of two, the power of...
Down to Papa Roach, bleed 182.
The power of one, the power of two, the power of...
I want people in the industry to be a little bit louder about people being mean to other people, and maybe say it's not a good thing.
Demonic presence at unsafe levels. Lockdown.
Every single person that's intelligent, hardworking, ambitious, had dreams and goals, has abandoned England in the last 200 years.
Victimizers beware. The racist and bigots' greatest nightmares. Social justice warriors. Get triggered.
It's the bias response team.
If you've been offended, your feelings must be defended. Go! Freedom of expression is a microaggression. Here comes Angela Frey. He's always ready to fight fascism with fascism.
Starbucks windows don't stand a chance.
Ethic enhancer. He's a systematic racism finder. Using the powers of screaming and shame, they win every debate by calling your names. They're heroes who think that they're victims. Social justice warriors. Get triggered.
It's astounding. This mortal really is something else. Look at that brilliant form. There can be no doubt. This is the true power, complete in all its majesty. This is Autonomous Ultra Incel.
Holy crap! Holy crap!
Engines roar through the ash gray skies. The wasteland burns, but hope won't die. Every screen's a twisted lie, built to break us, make us comply. They poison the heroes, rewrite the tales, turn legends to dust, leave us frail. But we're not done, we won't bow down. Through the wreckage, we'll take the crown. Steel hearts ignite, fire in our veins. Freedom's calling, breaking the chains. They can't erase what we already know. HyperDrive now, let's fucking go. HyperDrive time, we're burning the night. Blazing through shadows, our stories ignite. Will all the fans come ride with me as we laugh at foolish hypocrisy? HyperDrive time is now or it's never, as long as they rule. Let's fucking go forever. Forever. Oh, forever. Forever. Go forever.
Oh boy. Oh baby boy, we are back once again. It is episode 15. Yeah, buddy. Yes. That's right. It's episode 50 of HyperDrive time already. The cursed episode. This episode has been totally and utterly cursed for like a number of days now. And well, it all started when I originally posted it, which was last week. And then I had to cancel that because of some horrible situation that happened here. And then I had it all set up for yesterday, and then another terrible thing happened here. And it's just been one damned thing after another, to the point where I'm just like, you know what? I don't care anymore. We are getting on with this shit. We are not having this anymore. It's HyperDrive time, baby. It's HyperDrive time, and it's time for the 50th. We got to get over this hurdle and carry on with the show. There is tons going on, and tons I've been trying to talk about for days and days and days. So, ladies, gentlemen, and nothing in between, welcome once again to another voyage of discovery, racing through the wastes of the internet to the further reaches of sanity on the next installment of our never-ending quest to rid the universe of absolute freaking bollocks. Thank you. I did it. There we go. All right. Wow. Okay, that's enough of the air horn for now. Before we set off, of course, as always, please ensure that you keep your brains inside the vehicle at all times with your eyeballs firmly screwed to the screen. Who's here? We've got a few people already, although I completely understand if the audience is like just waking up and realizing that I'm live. It's the third time I've been live in about 8 hours now, so I completely understand if everyone's asleep. But no, we've got some folks here already. Donald Maxwell is here saying, if Doctor Who ends on the 24th of May 2025, why is there an episode called The Reality War on the 31st of May 2025? Well, it's the same reason that they had like a doomsday countdown to the penultimate episode of the last series, because that was the day that the world ended then as well. So I suppose it's just some stupid way of trying to maintain relevance with the current time, but at the same time also then therefore dating the show at the same time, which is no stranger to Doctor Who. So I suppose that's probably why. Probably. But as it stands right now, Reality War is the final episode of Doctor Who, and we should all probably be quite grateful for that, I think, because of course the show is complete arse. It's woke beyond belief. It's non-stop pushing of the message is driving everybody insane. And, well, just a bunch of other reasons that people might be really, really annoyed with it. And I could completely understand all of that. Now, yeah, we do have a lot of other stuff to talk about. But first, Divining Dragon is here with happy non-denominational, easy opportunity, equal opportunity, rather. Blessings for everybody, and thank you for that. Callum Oliver is here saying YOLO. Yeah, that sort of became a real meme eventually, didn't it? It really did. Oh, well, there it is. Flowering Night Lord, hello. Hello and welcome. 50th time's the charm. Yeah, right. I mean, this is literally the third time I've tried to push this episode, so hopefully it does actually make it to the end without any massive disaster. We had a big issue, obviously, on WTF Live as well. We had plenty of people having to deal with the fact that my browsers just crashed like twice. At one point, I had to actually exit the stream, restart my PC, and rejoin the stream. And of course, there's the ongoing situation that's going on personally with my family at the moment, where my father's injured, and I'm hoping that doesn't escalate to the point where I have to rush him to hospital anytime soon. At the moment, he seems to be slowly improving, so touch wood, I suppose. And you know, it's been fraught lately, so I'm glad I can actually sit here and talk to you guys as I usually do. Now, who else we got? Gamer Baron is here. Another flaw about that Lux episode that I caught was what the R to the E to the TARD. Once again, confused the 1950s with the 1930s and 40s animation style. Yes, Max Fleischer, Betty Boop. Yes, that's right. That's absolutely right. Although I guess they might have been playing old cartoons at that point. I don't know. I think it was like Tom and Jerry era by that point, I think. So I don't really know. But welcome to the show. And you're going on again about post-war 40s shed all over the net as 1950s. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. The 40s was very, very different from the 50s. The 50s was much more of a time of expansion of upper middle class white suburbia. So there's that. Anyway, we're going to get into that. We've got Doctor Who to talk about. Of course, we've got RTD thinking that he felted the fans when, let's be honest, he just felted himself. We've got, of course, to go through the LOL suit in a little bit more detail than I have been able to before, because it's hard when you're on a panel. And, of course, the launch of Response 2 and varying division between lots of different potential responses to Oblivion Remastered, which, of course, after the end of WTF Live 8 hours ago, was announced to be releasing immediately. And great. I thought that might happen. I had it kind of in my back pocket that if the game came out and it was reasonably priced and such, that I might pick it up, have a flutter, and decide to play it and review it, which I did. So I went live. It crashed. I had to go live again and managed to get through the intro all the way to getting inside the Oblivion Gate of Kvatch to on the mission to find the Emperor's son, Martin, of course. And that's where I left it. We'll be carrying on with that. Hopefully, if we hit the goal, help hit the goal, guys. And we'll carry on with that. We also have to finish Suikoden 2, which I think actually should take priority. And of course, we are going to be beginning a project where we're going to be making our own games as well. But along with everything else we have to talk about, there's a whole bunch of controversy. So if you are liking the stream,
Like the stream.
and of course, you know already, your in-flight entertainment can be found by hitting the join button. It does help. It joins the Grift Force. You get emojis, you get all kinds of other stuff. Also, you'll be kind of invited to more senior meetings about the game project, and it helps keep the ship in the skies, which helps keep me in front of you and helps keep my family fed. So if you have any questions, comments, or you just need to pull over for a second, don't forget you can do that by tipping the driver. Someone who wants to pull over for a second already is Callum Oliver for £2. Says, you want to pay £110 to meet Varada Sethu at LFCC? Lamau. No, I don't think I do. Have they already announced that? Oh, no. I didn't know that had already been announced this year. That was early. I remember last year it was an absolute rip-off to go and meet Ncuti Gatwa or someone like that. And it was like £300 or something for everything. So who have we got this year? I guess I'll add that to the docket as well, and we'll go through that. Thanks for bringing it up. And yes, guys, support the stream, help hit the goal, and you will be rewarded. There will be more gaming, much more gaming, more streaming, more videos, everything. So thank you very much to Callum Oliver for that, and let's get the show on the road, because we have so much to talk about. Let's begin then, as we usually do, with a bit of Doctor Who, because it's the cringiest of cringe. It's dying, it's felted. Like I said, it's toast. There's really nothing else to say about it at this point. And well, here we go. First of all, we have to deal with the backlash and the fallout of episode 2 of series 215 or 41, Lux, which was, I mean, an unfortunate episode in as much as it had the potential, scenario wise, to be something worth watching, which is not something I say very often at all for Doctor Who these days. Most of the time, within the first 5 minutes, I want to rip out my eyes because I just can't stand to look at Gatwa and hear his mincing voice and flouncing around and all the camp and the gay, and it's nauseating. It's so ham-fisted. There's no subtlety whatsoever. And I know media has always been a vector of propaganda for one ideology or another ever since, well, the Renaissance, pretty much. And the thing is, it used to be subtle, and it also used to be excellent, the actual product. So the two biggest problems we have with wokeness, read cultural Marxism, infecting everything, isn't just the fact that it's alien to humanity in most of its practices and most of its doctrines, gender ideology and all that crap, but it's also the fact that the people writing it are so enthralled by their messaging, their ideology, that they forget to actually do a good job. So wokeness precipitates shitness, badness, low quality crap. And that is the case. That unfortunately is, and has always been the case since it started around about, well, it actually started about 100 years ago, but since it in earnest really started to push this shit into our faces around about 10 years ago. So, that's where we're at with that. But it's also important to remember that if a product is actually good, then most people are quite willing to tolerate conservative or liberal ideologies to a certain extent. So the problem is whether or not we're forgetting that. In the case of Doctor Who, of course, that's not the case because the product is shit. The writing is childish. It's amateurish, and it never, ever stops ham-fistedly shoveling that message in our faces. Of course, we had scenes in the recent episode where an otherwise decent scenario was underplayed by the fact that Gatwa took Sethu by the hand and said, "Oh, that's the best part, honey. We get to dress up. Oh, how gay we are," as they ran off and came out dressed in sort of vaguely 1950s-esque clothing. Then we had the moment where she called him Scooby-Doo and he said, "Honey, I'm Velma," which again is just gay as fuck and irritating to have to listen to because even gay people are tired of seeing gay people portrayed that way on screen. Only if you are an actual activist would you endorse and co-sign that portrayal of gay people, because in their eyes you are celebrating everything that they fucking despise about it. So there you go. That's a lot of the reason why we're in this position at the moment. But the worst part of it all, at the end of the day, was, of course, the moment I went over in my review and then we talked about on WTF Live, when they spilled out of a TV screen. A completely unnecessary sequence, by the way, one that I know MagesGuild completely cut out of a recut that he did of the episode, and it was really, really that much better for it, pacing-wise. But the moment where they had the scene in the living room where they have exited the TV show, and one of the characters is supposed to represent kind of us, a smart fan who reads the dirt sheets and knows about the leaks and stuff, and then says hashtag RIP Doctor Who, which is a gross misportrayal of who we actually are. I mean, none of the characters in that scene actually represent us. We don't cosplay and get together in little great gay little groups, little perfectly diverse, body positive, equal access groups to watch episodes of Doctor Who. We wouldn't stand up and run over and hug the Doctor and Varada Sethu just because they happen to appear in our living room. We'd more likely be, checking our pulse to make sure that we weren't having a stroke. So there's that as well. Callum Oliver for another 5 says, "I love the fact that my fave shows Strictly Come Dancing and BGT are beating Doctor Who into the ground in terms of ratings. Strictly still pulls 8 to 9 million. Yeah, Strictly, I mean, I would argue that's not even what it was once upon a time, although my mum was the one who used to say that when she was still alive. She really loved Strictly. She loved dancing as a performance medium in all its forms. She was a huge Gene Kelly fan and things like that. And she said it had gone downhill, but it didn't seem to be that much different to me. And hey, if somebody's still out there enjoying Strictly Come Dancing this far into its lifespan, and it's still pulling in like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times the viewership of Doctor Who on a regular basis, I mean, this is the big problem we have with everything now. Doctor Who was soundly thrashed by the News, Casualty, and Blankety Blank, which is a redo of a 70s game show. And frankly, that's just embarrassing when you are the biggest budget show on the BBC and you are getting humiliated by stuff that can be made a lot more cheaply, including the News with its auto cameras and pre-built sets. And really, you don't have to pay very much to produce the News in this day and age, apart from the front loading of actually designing all the, interstitials and banners and branding and the sets. beyond that, you just get a couple of Burks in suits and dresses or whatever to read the shit. There you go. Scare the piss out of people and you're done for the day. Doctor Who, on the other hand, more than £1 million an episode, it seems, based on that Disney budget. So who knows? And yeah, I'm kind of enjoying that too, Callum. So thank you very much for the £5 there, mate. Appreciate it. Really does help, especially in these quite fraught times. So thank you. Am I really? Thank you. All right. So the problem here is that the Radio Times, of course, being the propaganda arm of the, communist kingdom of Great Britain, Northern Ireland, and Wales, is that, well, I guess Wales is Great Britain, isn't it? The problem is that they really desperately needed this to be a great big win over the fans. There's no way this was a harmless little jab at the fans. This is RTD trying desperately again to get revenge on the fans who laugh at and mock and prophesize the demise of his show. Having a character, an overweight, wheelchair-bound, snarky bitch say hashtag RIP Doctor Who is a strange one, because she's also there watching the show with the two simpering, gormless twats who run over and hug the Doctor and Belinda Chandra the second that they exit the show. So I don't understand that narrative at all, that these people would not be watching the show together. That'd be like me going around Mr. TARDIS's house in semi-cosplay to watch the show. Just bonkers, bringing my toys to watch the show. It's just nonsense. And then still behaving the way I normally would. It doesn't work. It doesn't land. It seems desperate. And the fact that the entire sequence seems separate and distinct from the rest of the episode, and that it could be completely and cleanly cut out of the episode with minimal difficulty or repercussion throughout, shows that it was added later. Remember, this show was being written and produced while people were reacting to the church on Ruby Road, and was no doubt still having bits done to it during the transmission of the first 14th or 40th season. So things like this, I can't help but feel were added later just to try to irritate the fans. But the funny thing about it is, just like when Alyssa Mercante freaks out and tries to own someone on Twitter, this didn't actually own anyone. It just proved how fucking deep we are as a brainworm boring into RTD's happy gay little life. He knows nothing gets over. He knows no one's buying into this trash that he's producing. He knows that the overwhelming majority of fans have abandoned the show. That's why the numbers have gone from 10 million to 1.58 million over the last 7 or 8 years. Or a bit longer than that, I guess, to be fair. It was hovering around 7 million when Capaldi was the Doctor, and they thought that was a problem. So, yeah, it's just hilarious. You throw the baby out with the bathwater, and then you bring in the trans baby to replace him. And, well, things that don't exist don't tend to get over with people who do. So there's that. But, anyway, the point is, this article exists only to try and felt the fans. It doesn't work at all. And the fact that it exists just proves even more that they're the ones who are riled. They're the ones who are bothered by the fact that we all laughed and went, what the fuck are you doing, Russell, when we saw this? The latest episode of Doctor Who has delivered the show's most meta moment yet, as the Doctor and Belinda appeared outside of their own reality where they met a trio of Doctor Who fans. No, I'm sorry. Those guys are not Doctor Who fans. Not at all. Doctor Who fans, and when I say this, I mean the truest Doctor Who fans, the Truvians, if you will, are people like me. They're people like you who are going, please leave the show alone. Please just let it die. Please. It's suffered enough. You've done enough to it. You can't save it. You're just killing it. We're those people. We are the fans. the people who still watch it now are not really Doctor Who fans. They are either woke fans, fans of wokeness, or hyper progressive brainwash types who really don't know any better, or they are just the most weak-minded, dented people who just can't let go. They just don't have it in them to think critically. They don't have it in them to turn and say this is shit and stand up for themselves. They just don't have it in them. Unfortunately, that's the problem. They can't have standards. They can't apply standards. These are the same people who say leave Disney alone. You know, these are the same people who say leave Nintendo alone. Like, okay, I love Nintendo. You know, I've been entertained by them my entire life. Am I going to buy a Switch 2? Fuck no. I'm not paying that. Screw you. And screw you for even suggesting it. Why would I be... Why are these people... These people are... You know what they are? They're consumers. That's what they are. I am not a consumer. Okay? I'm not a pig in a fucking pile of slop that you can come over to and feed another bucket of slop. And then they just eat it and squeak and oink and wait for the next one. I'm not that guy. You're not that guy. None of us are these people. We have standards. We have, you know, intrepidity and standards. And we're not going to allow this to happen. So we turn around and we say, what the fuck is this? What is this slop? At least give me a menu. I'm a human being, for God's sakes. But no. Callum Oliver again for another 2. Piers Morgan for the next Doctor. Ha! That would be funny. But, of course, that would be implying that there will be a next Doctor. Yeah! And as of now, there's no new Doctor. The last Doctor is Ncuti. Did you know he's Gatwa? Anyway, so here we go. We have, of course, most notably the enigmatic Mrs. Flood, who will no doubt be the bad guy of this series, where she will no doubt be revealed to be another god of the pantheon, probably the prevailing one, like the fairy godmother or the story god or something who can break the fourth wall. And some people are speculating that's why everything's been more of a fantasy lately than sci-fi. That to me sounds like cope. If that is what they end up doing, that would be really fucking lame. Because the result of taking Doctor Who into a weird fantasy direction has been a lot of woke shit. And if it was revealed that it's all her fault at the end, that's really too little too late. Won't matter to me. Anyway, newest episode, Lux took things to a whole new level. In our adventure, our heroes faced off against Lux Imperator, voiced by Alan Cumming, a god of light who takes the form of animated character Mr. Ring-a-Ding. Oh, fuck. Can you believe I'm reading this and I'm talking about Doctor Who? Sometimes it's just, you know, take a breath, have a sip of water, and think. This is bullshit. And that's where I'm at. The dazzle at the heart of the pantheon. My God. The dazzle at the heart of the pantheon.
I'm gonna be totally honest with you. This is sounding really gay.
Anyway, he can control light. He poses no threat. We don't even know what his plan is. He says something about the atom bomb. Okay. Right, so you would have destroyed the world? Then what? When the world's gone, you float through space and the net result is exactly the same as what happened in the episode, except no longer there's an Earth? What was his plan? What was his fucking plan? Because he didn't even know the Doctor had, like, regeneration at the beginning, and he still fucking tortured him, put him in that living real-life scenario. What was his plan? Did he even mean to bounce off the spoon and the drawing pin to end up possessing Mr. Ring-a-Ding, or was that all an accident? What does any of it mean? Nothing. It wasn't even necessarily that evil. What did he do? Well, he imprisoned a bunch of people in celluloid, apparently. Yeah. Apparently. And we don't even really know why he did that. We don't even really know at all, because he wasn't that malevolent when the Doctor and Belinda showed up. He was just sort of playing with them. He seemed like he was actually confused himself about how that happened. And then he spends the rest of his time getting the projectionist, to project movies onto the screen. And in exchange, he resurrects the image of his dead wife so he can see her again. I mean, and he's there like swooning in the projection suite while they're dancing. Like, he wasn't even that evil. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's hardly Dalek evil. It's not even Cyberman evil. A lot of Doctor Who villains are often just misguided, sure, but this was just bizarre. Like, what is his mission? What's his goal? What's he there to do? He didn't inflict massive, horrible effects on the world like the Tranoid drag queen dickhead did, you know, with removing music and destroying civilization as a result. He didn't, like, plunge the entire planet into some state of mass delusion like the Toymaker. And Sutek, you know, he wiped out all life in the universe. So, you know, what was this guy's mission? It doesn't even make sense. It's fucking nonsense. The more I think about it, the less sense it actually makes. It's bizarre. I understand having sympathetic villains. There's nothing wrong with that. That is a very valid storytelling technique in better hands. But this guy, he accomplished nothing. He had no plan, and he didn't even know how the hell he was going to escape the theater until the Doctor showed up and proved that he could create a body with regeneration light. So I genuinely, I've got no idea what his goal was. Anyway, so he's trapped 15 innocent civilians in film, yeah. But, I mean, they could have all got out if they just lit the celluloid on fire, apparently. Because that's how everyone else got out. Oh, well. And that is how they got out at the end of the day, when the whole place was blown up. They were freed. So it was a cheap trick. Again, it was no threat. Like, these people were never in danger. They weren't harmed. They probably had a really horrifying and traumatic few days, certainly. After which they escaped and got back out, and apparently no one remembered that ever happening. Seems like the kind of thing that would make the papers, you know? But oh well. Though they're able to regain some corporeal form by opening up about their innermost fears, blah, 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 blah. They go out. They get to the room, of course. There's a cringe bit where they're animated. And then we have the thing where that fat bitch in the wheelchair says she knew it was going to happen because it was leaked online. Adding hashtag RIP Doctor Who. Oh, God, Russell, please stop. You got us. We're dead. It's over. You won. Come on. When I saw that, I literally went, oh my God, no. And then when it leaked online, I rolled my eyes. And then when the line came out, I just paused it. And I was like, you did not get that desperate, Russell, as to use the battle cry of your detractors in an episode. All that tells us is we are living rent-free, buddy. Rent-free. It's pathetic. And yet they'll continue here to try to say that this was poking fun at the fans. I mean, there you go. I mean, what does this accomplish? A wink to the audience and a leap through the screen. A wink to the audience? No, it wasn't. It was an attempt to fucking insult the audience. It was cringe as all belief. Callum Oliver again for another £2. Thank you, buddy. Trying to fill the bar yourself, are you? All right. Trump as the Doctor and Biden as the Master. I mean, that would be hilarious. Yeah. Billions and billions of planets, you know. And then the Master rolls out. It's like, oh, it's my old nemesis, the Master. And he's like, he's like, I don't understand what he said. I don't think he even understands what he said. Roll credits. The end. Put him in a prison cell and you're done. Pretty easy.
I sure hope somebody picks up that phone.
Do what?
Because I
fucking called it!
Thank you. So yeah, that was cringe. And this is pathetic. Like, actually writing an article about it, it just comes across as, you know, you are seriously trying to get. I mean, first it was Planet of the Incels, implying that any guy who plays video games and apparently gets dumped for being far too militantly controlling, like a certain demographic of the population, you know, the non-whites, behaves is somehow like that makes you an incel. Like, I hate this incel narrative because it implies that guys can't get laid, when, let's be honest here, it's not that hard. Guys have been taking all kinds of active measures to ensure they get their dicks wet for centuries, whether it's just straight up paying for it or, you know, dropping their standards for a couple of nights. It's not that hard, you know. Guys can get laid. I've never met an honest to God incel, really, unless it was a guy who just believed that he couldn't get laid, which is pathetic. So I reject the hypothesis that there are incels, and I just hate the word because, of course, the reality behind it, the meta narrative of the term incel, is it's just a way of attacking guys, trying to imply, and this is the worst part of it, once again, in much the same way as hashtag RIP Doctor Who reveals what you are sensitive about, Russell, the people who call other people incels, why do they immediately go to sex and the sex lives of their perceived enemies to try and get a win over them? Why is that the tactic? It's like, you disagree with me politically because you're an incel, you can't get laid. And it's like, why is that the thing that you think will bother me the most? Is that what bothers you? Is that what it is? Because it does seem a lot like when we watched Alyssa, like, ranting and raving in that video a while back where she was going on about how horribly angry we all are. And it was like, no, we're not. We're laughing. We're having a good time. We're making friends. We're mingling. You know, it's good times. Support it. Support the endeavor. While she's there broke, working as a waitress and making angry ranting videos about it, like really, like, personally wounded by it. You just protest too much, you know. Anyway, there's, you know, more articles about this, because of course you can't say that it's a nod and a wink to the audience and then also have articles that come out being about how RTD says, oh, there are online warriors accusing us of diversity and wokeness and involving messages and issues. And I don't have time for this. I don't have time for this. I'm Russell T. Davis. I'm far too busy being delicious, you know? And when he says, I don't have time for this, I don't have a second to bear it, well, you obviously do, Russell, because then you went ahead and wrote this scene. So not only did you have, you know, a second to bear it, you dedicated a good 10 minutes of the last episode to it. And you spent an entire episode trying to get to the line Planet of the Incels. I reckon you've got a lot more time for it than you want to let on, Russell. I think so. Why limit yourself? Why breathe in the exhaust fumes? Why be toxic? Come over here and where the light and life and light and air and sound is. You saying touch grass, Russell? Because I got to warn you, buddy. The last time one of your guys said touch grass, it didn't actually do you very well. In fact, you might argue that season 2 of Touching Grass is even more popular than season 1.
Don't watch. Turn off the TV. Go and touch grass, please, for God's sake.
See what I mean? So that doesn't fly either. And lastly, then we might as well touch on it. We got to this. The London Film and Comic Con is happening again. And who do we have in the guest list? Well, we've actually got some pretty good names here. We've got Ron Perlman. The most felted Hollywood actor in the world. There's this guy who literally makes like threat videos now because he has nothing else to offer. Oh God. And of course we've got Varada Sethu. Let's have a look then. Let's have a look. Where are you, Sethi? Come on. All right. So she is going to be at London Comic Con in July. Okay. And what exactly is she doing? Well, she's known for Andor and Doctor Who. Standard autograph, £45. Well, that's far less than Ncuti Gatwa's rate. Standard photo shoot, £45. Diamond pass, 1 autograph, 1 photo shoot, 1 gift, £110. What? What? What is this gift? Is she going to give you a blowy round the back or something? What the fuck? What the? That's a £65 value. What is she going to give you? Like, literally, what are they going to give you? What's worth 65 quid? Let's see. No, I already made the blowjob joke. Genuinely don't understand. What she could give you that's worth 65 quid that isn't a blowjob and has actual value. I don't know. Genuinely don't know. Maybe she'll fuck off and introduce you to Millie Gibson instead. I don't know. She'll piss off. Yeah. 65 quid and she'll bugger off. Yeah. That'd be nice. Oh, mate. What the fuck? Does anyone ever go to these things? Because I'm curious. Did anyone actually go to meet like Ncuti Gatwa last year? Because I'd be interested to know what the fucking hell the gift there was, because it was a ridiculous upgrade from before. All right, so who else we got? Colin Baker, that's good. An actual doctor. John Barrowman. Wow, they actually allow him into public now. That's interesting. Thought he got cancelled. Ah. Who else we got? Brian Blessed. That'll be cool. Brian Blessed's all right. Nothing wrong with him. Trying to think now. A bunch of other people I barely know. Who's Brendan Wayne? Was he like the actual guy in the suit in The Mandalorian or something then? Body double. Right. So he was the guy who was actually, you were actually watching him. It was never Pedro. Callum Oliver for £2 more. A BJ from her is not worth 65 quid. Lamau. Well, I mean, you never know. She might just be fucking amazing at it, you know? I mean, if she thinks it's gonna sell like en masse, she must be able to get you off in like under 20 seconds. So if that's something that was possible, I'd say that's worth 65 quid. But otherwise, yeah, you're right. Yeah. I mean, if she's gonna be able to dole out mass blowjobs, she's gonna have to be pretty damn good. Anyway, fucking hell, what have we turned this show into? Anyway, if 10 people pay her 65 quid, she'll buy a plane ticket back to India. Despite being born in the UK. Don't know who you are. Who are you? Looks like from Rings of Power or something. I know that guy's face. Can't think who half of these people are. She was in Doctor Who before, wasn't she? Yeah, she's in Harry Potter. She's the woman who played Hermione for a little while when they were in Polyjuice in the last movies, or the start of the 7th movie or whatever it was. Roxanne McKee. There's a few people here who are pretty cool. Yeah. Not an impressive list though, really. You got Gandalf from Rings of Power. Wonderful. Oh yeah, we're definitely up for that, aren't we? Dan Starkey, who played the Sontaran Can't remember what his bloody name was. Julian Glover, one of the Imperial fucking ATST guys, I think. Fair enough. Sylvester McCoy, cool. Why is he not top billing? He's in loads of shit. Who else? Nita Harris, Jackie Piper, Stormtrooper number 1, Stormtrooper number 2. Bunch of comic artists and stuff. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, nah, it's not worth it. Not worth it. Don't bother. What's Colin Baker charging? Oh, it'll be less. It'll be like last time when Ncuti Gatwa was like triple the price of everybody else. And the other funny thing is you very often don't get the actor who is currently playing the Doctor. You very often only get Doctors after they've already finished. 25 quid. There you go. 25 quid. That is a steal. 25 quid for an autograph photo from the Doctor. From one of the Doctors. I know, not the most popular one, but, you know, better than what we got now, mate. Callum again, £2. Sylvan Colin will come to the opening of a door. No, you're on fire. The hell? Yeah, no, I mean, it's not a very impressive showing, is it? Let's be honest. Where's Sylvester McCoy? What's he charging? So right now we are paying more than double the price for a secret gift from an assistant. And the Doctors themselves, 30 quid. There you go. And photo shoot in costume, 40 quid. So he has to go get changed and come back to do them? Fair enough, I suppose. I wish I could just organize them by price, because then I would know who they think is the most important person here. What about Barrowman? What's he got? What you got, Barrowman? Come on. Barrowman, load. All right. 50 quid. Oh, God, he's got a diamond pass too. 135. 1 autograph, standard photo shoot, 1 talk, and 1 gift. Diamond pass Sunday, 125. Okay. Talk, £10. What does that mean? He won't talk to you unless you pay 10 quid. In costume photo shoot, wearing the Captain Jack coat, 60 quid. Jesus Christ, people do spend their money on some trash, don't they? Oh, well. Who am I to talk? Ha! Anyway, there you go. Anyone else? Who do we think is going to be a big deal? What about Ron Perlman? I doubt it's Mantis from Guardians of the Galaxy. What's he charging? 60 quid, 145 quid for the gift. Jesus Christ, I don't want a blowjob from Ron Perlman, thank you very much. Jesus. No, thank you. All right, there you go. It's all looking really bad, isn't it? It's not looking good. And of course, the viewing figures have showed it. We saw it with the 1.58 million that watched Lux. Now, of course, they might get an uptick next week because it's on during the football or right after the football or whatever. So there probably will be a whole bunch of TVs on in pubs. So don't be surprised if the viewing figure escalates for the overnights tomorrow. Don't be surprised in the slightest. Callum again, 2 quid. I'd rather have Barrowman's BJ gift than Sethu's. Really? I don't want to comment. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, he's a dude, so whatever floats your boat. He's probably given more, though. Yeah! I'm trying to look at these people quickly here and see if there's anybody I'd actually be willing to receive something like that from. No, because most of them are using pictures from the 70s, so nah, not happening, thanks. Anyway, thank you very much again for the super chat. Appreciate you, buddy. I really do. Okay, that's enough. That's enough. Doctor Who's felted. Doctor Who's fucked. There's nothing good going on here. Barrowman would probably sing for you while you're doing it. Oh, no, I don't want a Hummer. Fuck that. All right, we need to get on to something else. Let's talk a little bit about Mercante, because Mercante and the lawsuit is a thing. And I've wanted to go into this in a little bit more detail than I have before, because I only ever get like 5 minutes to talk about it. So I wanted to go into this a little bit more, because it's important to understand precisely why You must never, ever do what Alyssa Mercante has done in trying to sue a YouTuber for talking about her public behavior. This is something, I mean, I can't stress this enough. Our entire industry hinges on people being able to speak their minds. Now, I know YouTube is not the most free speech platform of all of them, but it is the biggest. And if we are to be able to continue to do what we do on YouTube, I say anything we bloody want within reason about a topic of the public interest, we can't be having precedents set where you can't say anything about anyone or it constitutes harassment. By this reckoning, CNN would owe Donald Trump millions every time they say his name. It doesn't work. The journalism industry would be felted. YouTube would be dusted. There'd be no way to do anything. You wouldn't be able to say anything about anyone. Hell, any YouTuber who wants to make a video reacting to any other YouTuber would be legally liable. So no, this cannot work. Anyway, we've read the intro a couple of times, but she says that the comments that Smash JT made constitute bias-based harassment, tortious interference with contract, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and a new talk called stochastic terrorism, which actually is just basically saying that she is a former sex worker and a whore. Okay? And I'm not even sure if he used exactly the word whore, but I suppose they must have some evidence of that. Although, I mean, not that they are doing a particularly competent job with this lawsuit, as we will see. Plaintiff's problem, however, is that she has, as shown below, repeatedly, publicly, and unapologetically described herself online as a former sex worker and a whore, and urged followers not to deem either of these occupations or epithets as demeaning or negative. That's fine for her and what she wants to say and do in public, but for her complaint of defamation, these self-descriptions are a problem indeed. What's Alyssa on about now? Well, this is the response from Smash JT's lawyer, Ron the Hammer Coleman, who is delivering a legal smackdown that like I've never seen before. This is the letter you've been waiting for since the word lawsuit first came up. This is Ron Coleman summarily dismissing every single stupid claim that Mercante has got. None of them have any weight to them. None of them hold water. They are all useless. The plaintiff in this action is Alyssa Mercante, who writes about video games. And the defendant is Jeff Tarja, who operates social media channels that focus on video games under the name Smash JT. Now, it's also worth pointing out that in their most recent complaint letter, Mercante et al. Oh, yeah. Doxed a whole bunch of YouTubers. Again, revealing their real names, locations, and such. People like Toasty, people like 8-Bit Eric. Hell, even Atreus was in there. It's ridiculous. You can't get away with this, you know? Anyway, they claim that saying something about someone's public behavior with the name that they themselves have put out into the public. We know Alyssa Mercante's name because that is the name that she uses on the internet. Okay? The fact that it's also her real name, well, I mean, that's up to her, isn't it? She decided to get a job as a journalist. She decided to start talking shit about gamers. And when gamers had enough, they started talking shit about her and she cries harassment. It is literally, quite literally, the meme of the woman with the bucket and the shovel, shoveling shit, throwing it over the wall behind her. And when the shit comes back over the wall, she cries harassment. It is Mercante mode at this point. So, according to the complaint, Tarja is so influential that his actions alone caused Mercante's resignation from Kotaku. Yeah, okay. Had nothing to do with the fact that she was simping for a terrorist sympathizer, or the fact that she called the entire internet out for a physical fight. None of those things could possibly have had anything to do with her getting fired from the supposedly professional outfit that she was representing at the time. Because unfortunately, here's the thing. I represent myself, okay? If I say something fucked up and offensive, that's me representing me, okay? I have obviously deemed that it was okay to say, or if it was not okay to say, that I had already made my deal with that, okay? you guys out there in internet land all know this. When we go out and we talk shit about people on the internet, we're doing it as ourselves. We are representing us. I do not represent YouTube, okay? Much as YouTube would like to control what I can say, I don't represent them. I represent me. I represent will of the fans, okay? Mercante, on the other hand, represented Kotaku, which is supposed to be a gaming journalism website. And she ultimately was calling out the internet for fights, getting drunk on stream, and saying obnoxious, awful, nasty, caustic shit constantly, whilst calling herself a whore and providing the information that she was once a sex worker. And, you know, simping for Hassan Piker. So, there you go. Mudcrab says he'd pay VAR for a gift. Yeah. Yeah, I bet a lot of people would. Well, you know, don't infer anything from paying super chats to this channel. I'm not doing it. Entertainment is the best you'll get from me. Resulting in significant personal and professional harm. Complaint begins by providing context on the original Gamergate Irrelevant from 2014 and sets the stage for its own ideological bent by characterizing all critics of Kotaku's journalistic practices as right-wing. Again, irrelevant. What does this have to do with a lawsuit? Nothing. The only reason this is included is in some essence to try and get a judge who, hopefully being in New York, which is what she also wants, is to get an activist. She wants an activist judge, which she doesn't seem to have got. The judge who is presiding over this has basically already decided to dismiss, but wants a little bit more info. That's why they were allowed to send an amended complaint, which was even more gibberish than the first one. And that's why we're reading this response letter now. What? No more supers? No, don't say that. Don't say that. You'll scare everyone. I gotta feed my kids. A new controversy in 2024 that came to be known as Gamergate 2.0. No one calls it that. It's just Gamergate 2. Involving a company called Sweet Baby Inc., where the complaint suggests Mr. Taja wrongfully used to grow his online following largely by attacking Mercante. That is not what fucking happened. Gamergate 2 happened, and some people suddenly exploded and got much, 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 much bigger as YouTubers because of covering the never-ending carousel of utter cringe from the game industry, part of which is and a predominant part of it is Mercante, because this person chooses to act in this vile way whilst representing and standing for the very industry that we are trying to remake or unmake or reform, you know, or in fact replace where we can. A significant figure in the original Gamergate. Was she a significant figure in the original Gamergate? I don't feel like she was, but she seems to think she was. So, and a brash, militant, and frequently obscene voice in the online culture wars. Now that is an accurate description of Alyssa Mercante. The complaint describes Mr. Taj's coverage of Mercante and her role in Gamergate 2 as harassment, alleging that he made false statements about her personal life, repeated the invocation of her name and image without consent, and called for his followers to target her with their own online opprobrium. Now, if you act like a horse's ass on the internet and you put out tons and tons and tons and tons of pictures of yourself in various states of undress, in various stupors and states of mind, then the internet is going to find them and the internet is going to use them. Because here's the thing, here's the dirty little secret, right? You have published them on the internet. And when I say published, do you know what that word means? It means to make something publicly available and thus relinquish your right to privacy regarding it. That is the fucking definition. Your Twitter thread, your Twitter profile is a public-facing internet profile. If you choose to post ludicrous shit and semi-nudes, then you are responsible for what happens to them. No one else. Tough titties. or tough lack of titties in her case. The complaint lists 5 causes of action. 1, defamation and defamation per se for the alleged false statements. 2, bias-related violence or intimidation under New York law. That's not the case. 3, intentional infliction of emotional distress. 4, tortious interference with Mercante's employment contract. And 5, a proposed new tort of stochastic terrorism, or alternatively, deployment of the prima facie tort rubric based on Mr. Taja bothering and mocking Mercante online. James Up, friend of the channel, legend, for $5 says Gamergate2.org, and she had no part in Gamergate 1, but they modified Wikipedia to put her in it on March 31st. Really? This year? Or last year? That's interesting. Mercante is not someone anyone had ever heard of until Sweet Baby Inc. Until she infiltrated a Sweet Baby Inc. detected Discord server and attempted to get the people in it to give her their names and faces. Yes, this year. Fuck me. Jesus Christ. They will never stop. They'll stoop to anything, won't they? They will literally revise history. They'll try to gaslight you. It's fucking bullshit, man. The left, responsible for more misinformation than anybody else in the history of the world. Bank on it. And thank you very much, James Up. Guys, if you do want to know more about Gamergate 2, go to Gamergate2.org, which James Up runs. Has my logo on it. Very proud of that. And support him and his work, because he is cataloging things that have actually happened. Whereas we know that the media will do what they did with Gamergate 1, rebrand it a harassment campaign and try to tear down the people who were simply revolting customers. So support his work. Thank you, James. Okay, I got a good feeling about this bar. All right, we're going to crack on. So, a plaintiff has the burden of proving personal jurisdiction. Okay? The plaintiff may not, however, rely on conclusory, non-fact specific jurisdictional allegations to overcome a motion to dismiss. This was, I'm not going to cite all the precedents, but that is basically the rule 12b2 in jurisdiction, which is why she keeps trying to push that Smash JT's work covers New York, which is absurd when New York is just one region of the entire world that has access to Smash JT's work, and that his audience is chosen by people themselves opting in and the YouTube algorithm. So there we go, I suppose. Anyway, a complaint must contain sufficient factual matter accepted as true to state a claim to relief that is plausible on its face. Are you debating legal statute with Will drunk? Are you drunk? Because I'm not. I just got up. Well, actually, I got up from a nap because 5 hours ago I was playing Oblivion. Callum Oliver for £5. One of my mates who went to Comic-Con last year said the line for Millie Gibson was longer than the line for Gatwa. Wonder why. I can give you 2 reasons. You know, Millie Gibson, I was like, I felt like maybe it would be awkward to say back then, a year ago, but I was thinking, you know, Millie Gibson, she's chav hot, you know, she's got that kind of like, every now and then you meet a chav who's actually hot, you know, they don't make you recoil in like, ugh, when you look at them, and you think, yeah, she's a bit, got that kind of common as muck look about her, but you just would. And that's Millie Gibson. So, the problem with number 2, failure to state a claim, which is 12b6. A complaint must contain sufficient factual matter accepted as true to state a claim to relief that is plausible on its face. Okay? It has to be basically commonly known to be true in order for people to take you seriously. Because a defamation suit may be as chilling to the exercise of First Amendment freedoms as fear of the outcome of the lawsuit itself. So just by implying or invoking that you will sue can be enough to censor someone without the actual lawsuit. And that is why you have anti-slap laws. So it points out here that this is why it's important to try to resolve defamation actions at the pleading stage, if possible. Also, under New York's anti-slap law, which is strategic lawsuits against public participation, I think. In other words, don't tread on my freedom of speech. It's a crime. It's against the law to file these kinds of lawsuits. An action such as this one, based upon the exercise of the constitutional right of free speech in connection with with an issue of public interest. Mercante's bullshit is an issue of public interest. It just bloody is. The woman continually and routinely makes fucking horrendous, outlandish and noxious fucking statements in public. I see what you've done there, James, by the way. Thanks. They just added a bunch more. All right, fuck it. Let's bring it up. This is what? The Gamergate page? Or does she have her own page now? Video game conventions are still hotbeds of sexualized abuse. Mercante, Alyssa, June 8, 2023. That's not Gamergate. Gamergate 2. Oh, they've added more stuff. Right. So is this on the Gamergate 1 page? Is that where you got this? Because this has nothing to do with Gamergate 1. She wasn't around. She wasn't active. You know what she was doing during Gamergate 1? She had a little YouTube channel. I forget what it's called. What was it called? Fuck. I think it was called Alyssa or something like that. Hang on, let me see if I can find it. I always said I would never actually support this, but like not show this. I can't find it, but she had a YouTube channel. She had a YouTube channel way back then, and that YouTube channel was just making little videos about makeup tutorials and games, and she was much more normal back then as well. Looked like a girl, you know, before she became obsessed with Lady Gaga, apparently. Anyway, this court has no jurisdiction over the defendant. Yes, New York doesn't. The complaint alleges that plaintiff is a resident of the state of New York and that the defendant resides in California, but tries to say he has directed his activities towards the state of New York via his End Kotaku campaign, via his Twitter website and YouTube videos, all of which are accessible in the state of New York and targeted at the people of the state of New York. No. He has quite literally just said Kotaku needs to change. It doesn't really matter where Kotaku's office is. It's irrelevant. It doesn't matter at all. Now, maybe they have a headquarters in New York. I don't know. But they are owned by Geo Media, and I don't know where their headquarters is either. Let's see. Geo Media headquarters is in New York again. Okay, fine. Fair enough. That doesn't mean it's that New York has jurisdiction over what some guy in California says, who may or may not even know. So that's where all the new entries since yesterday. So they are currently adding piles and piles of Mercante references to Gamergate 1. Fucking imbeciles. They are determined to try and turn her into a star. And all of this at the end of the day is ultimately just there to make sure that when she finally gets felted, she can still put out a book. That's all this ultimately is. She's writing a book. And they're trying to give her free promotion by tying her name to people like Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn. It's not going to work. No one's interested in Alyssa fucking Mercante apart from this now. Such allegations, which is in this instance alleged conduct sounding in defamation, fall far short of satisfying New York's long-arm jurisdiction. In fact, we don't even need all of this stuff. This is just the various precedents that were set with multiple different cases throughout the years that prove that you can't have New York reaching out beyond its remit. So there's that. Now, Alternatively, however, the statute provides under subsection 2 that personal jurisdiction may exist if the defendant expects or should reasonably expect the act to have consequences in the state and derive substantial revenue from interstate or international commerce. No such formulations are alleged in the jurisdiction and venue section of the complaint. However, the closest she comes is as a part of attempting to plead the jurisdictional minimum as follows. The amount in controversy in this case is more than $75,000. That's what she wants. Because Mr. Taj's commercial enterprise is built off of, that's bad English, by the way. You don't need that of. You should say built off or built from. And dedicated to his disparaging, harassing, intimidating, and stalking of Alyssa Mercante. He doesn't stalk her. None of us do. We only react when she does stupid crap. It's not stalking. I wish she would stop so I can stop talking about her. I'm fucking tired of it. The only reason I even mentioned this is because it is significant and because it sets a precedent that will define the future of all of our ability to do what we do on the internet. Unfortunately, a precedent that would go in her favor, which is not going to happen, by the way, like a 5% chance, according to Grok. Thank you again, James Up. The reality here is that if for fucking no reason at all that's actually valid, she were to win this, it would set a precedent that would restrict all of us ever talking about anyone ever again, because we would all be legally liable thanks to the precedent. So it matters. This matters, unfortunately, which is the reason I keep bringing it up. Anyway, so she claims he made $75,000 based on just her, which of course is insane. That's not true. And of course, as Ron Coleman points out, reading the complaint in the most plaintiff-friendly manner possible, the allegations may be taken as approaching some formulation that might satisfy 302A32 because it alleges that Mr. Taj's conduct, besides being directed at a New York resident, resulted in consequences and substantial revenue. In other words, the substantial revenue alleged here is essentially nothing more than the revenue he earned. A matter regarding which plaintiff cannot plausibly claim to know, much less quantify, and which she has no reasonable basis for guessing about. Exactly. So there you go. She brings up culture war bullshit. The complaint contains a great deal of political rhetoric and polemic, the inclusion of which is hard to justify. Focusing, however, on the factual allegations against Mr. Taja, it is clear that the claims against him are legally deficient. She, in fact, has referred to herself as a whore. Here she is saying that she's going to go back to sex work. She didn't need to say back to sex work. She could have just said that she was going to go into sex work and get fucked a lot and get paid for it. But she didn't. She said back. And I would remind you, Your Honor, that this is in December of 2023. Okay, this is a few weeks before Gamergate 2 started and at least 3 months before we ever heard of the name Alyssa Mercante. Certainly before Smash JT did. In fact, I heard about Alyssa Mercante before Smash JT did. I remember he was heavy hitting on Kotaku with his end Kotaku shit, and that was good. That was some good stuff. But he didn't get onto the Alyssa Mercante train until he shared something by Polished Productions, who himself was watching our videos about her. Not that I'm looking for clout here or anything, by the way. I'm just pointing out that there's even the most spurious of reasons that she might have for going after Smash JT fall completely dead. When you consider the fact that I was making videos about her, Hypno was making videos about her, and lots of other people were making videos about her long before Smash JT ever heard her name. So, bullshit. Anyway, she's destroyed herself right away with this immediate post because she says she's going to go back to sex work. She doubles down on that, of course. Someone asked her once back in, when was that? Either April or June 2024, how did she get into the gaming industry? And she said, I suck dick. She said she sucked dick. I mean, why would you say that? Why would you ever say that? I mean, she's unhinged, guys. She's unhinged. There's no way anyone has a reason to say this. It was May? Okay. It's date I'm trying to work out because the date here says 4/6/24. And I can't remember which way it arranges that. Now, yeah, you might say that she said it because it's true. And, you know, it's not out of the realm of possibility, is it, guys? I mean, women have certainly got into positions of power before on their knees. It certainly has happened. Certainly in Hollywood and places like that. Why not in the incredibly nepotistic and sleazy video game journalism space, as we all learned about in 2014? April, right? That's what I thought. It was early on, I remember. So yeah, so she claims that she sucked dick. She claims that she was going back to sex work. She claims that sex work is a very lucrative way of making money and that any capitalist should have no problem with it. It's almost like you hate women. No. We're just not particularly proud of you trying to be a role model by being a whore. In figure 4 below, plaintiff brags of having worked as a cam girl and implies that from her point of view, that's the sort of sex work appropriate for celebration on International Whores Day. Oh my God. International Whores Day. International Whores Day. That's not a real thing. Guys, tell me that's not a real thing. And I know, James, I know. I've got a whole folder as well. Anybody with a brain in their head, anybody even remotely adjacent to Smash JT or not, started putting a folder together in like April. It is reasonable to read the post in figure 4 as a statement the plaintiff considers herself a member of the international fraternity. Happy International Whores Day. I used to be a cam girl. Sex work is work. No, you see, sex work, as it turns out, and this is the issue that a lot of guys have with it. Sex work is what you do when you can't work, when you won't work, when you won't contribute something of, you know, higher value. And when I say higher, I don't mean numerically or quantifiably valuable. I mean higher in, you know, what's that? You know, like not being based and horrible, not based, base, not being a sleazy gutter piece of trash, you know, higher than that. If the only way you can make money is fucking people, congratulations, you are a woman. You are not working. Is the absence of work. It's what you do when you give up on trying to work. There is no respect to be earned being a slapper, being a prostitute. There is none. And guys don't respect whores. Guys pay whores. Okay? Some guys, anyway. And you can trust me on that because, you know, myself, I have never, ever paid for anywhere. I know a guy who did for his 18th birthday because he really wasn't very attractive. But this is the country that I live in, and there's an awful lot of that shit that goes on. An awful lot of that. Hell, there's nothing wrong with walking into a certain type of bar and slipping the bar owner a certain amount and taking one of his waitresses home early, apparently, or wherever you want. She is honor bound to go with the gentleman wherever he may want to go for the night. And that is, I don't know how they get around that legally, I suppose, because there's no actual contract of, you know, it's an escorting job, I suppose. So that kind of thing goes on all the time. So guys will pay. I don't think any of these guys have ever been even asked if they respected the bar girls that they pick up and take home. No, this is what you do when you can't or you won't try harder. But, you know, most guys with any kind of self-dignity or respect will acknowledge that, you know, if you refuse to play the game, you're not really winning, you know? So there you go. Something that you buy that you should have to earn really has no value. Anyway, there we go. So we can continue down this rabbit hole, but we won't for too much longer because I don't want to lean on it for too long, and I have other things I want to talk about. Here's Alyssa Mercante's bio, and I don't know when this was captured in particular, but it was presumably sometime after a Burr month in 2024, where she is claiming that she is senior editor / feminist whore at Kotaku, which is hilarious. Maybe this is why she got fired. Because she is literally listing her job description at Kotaku, at Jezebel, and at Games Radar. Feminist whore. As if that's her job role. To be fair, this would have been a disciplinary at almost any company that actually values itself. And Kotaku was having a rough year already last year. So there you go. Past tense. True. Alternatively, the court can take plaintiff at her word and conclude that she is not chaste, but what she has said, is what she has said she is. And truth, of course, is an absolute unqualified defense to a civil defamation action, and substantial truth suffices to defeat a charge of libel. So you've just destroyed yourself. That's what that says. And then it says, in the context of plaintiff statements, those of defendant are readily perceptible as tasteless but non-actionable polemic. Yes, Smash JT and I and Hypno and all the other guys who talk about Alyssa from time to time have in fact said rather tasteless, quite crass things about her from time to time. In our position, she's earned them, but they are still rather tasteless statements to make. We can all agree on that. However, alternatively, as discussed above, plaintiff made herself libel-proof on the subject of chastity. It's also possible that plaintiff said what she meant and meant what she said. Defendant spoke the truth and cannot be liable for defamation. Even if defendant's descriptions of her conduct was itself mere culture camp rhetoric and could somehow be shown to be empirically false, plaintiff's comments appeared to be true and were thus not made with actual malice. So that eliminates actual malice. For any of these reasons, or some combination of them, I particularly love that sentence. For any of these reasons, of these many reasons, or any particular combination that the judge may feel like putting together, plaintiff's defamation claim should be dismissed. And there you go. Now, we can keep going on, but we're not going to. At the end of the day, I've read this a few times now. This will be the last time. For all the foregoing reasons, the complaint against Jeff Tarja from Alyssa Mercante should be dismissed with prejudice. And fucking A. Give me some soups if you agree. Seriously, shout out to Ron Coleman. Just absolutely sledgehammer to the case. Right there. There was no case. There was no case to begin with. What was that thing you sent me yesterday, James Up? Is that still in our history, in our chat history? Let me see. In fact, was it you? I think it was you. You sent me something. Where is it? Yeah. Last thing I'll say on it. Let me get this up on the screen and share it. And where are we? Here we are. Conclusion by Grok. With the image evidence of Alyssa Mercante's ex-profile identifying her as a feminist whore, Tarja is the overwhelmingly likely winner at the motion to dismiss stage with a 90 to 95% probability of securing dismissal of the complaint. The image strongly supports his libel-proof defense, negating Mercante's defamation claim, and indirectly weakens her other claims by framing her as a provocative figure whose own statements invited controversy. Dismissal under Rules 12b2 and or 12b6 is highly probable, and Tarja is likely to receive attorney's fees under NYCRL Section 70-A. Mercante's chances of survival. This is brutality by Grok, by the way. Chances of survival are minimal. Now, obviously, it means legal survival, but phrasing, buddy. You want to be careful, Grok. She might sue you next. Resting on narrow jurisdictional or factional disputes that the image renders unlikely to succeed. I'm just kidding, by the way. She's not going to sue Grok. To sue people, you need to have some money. Okay, guys, that'll do for Alyssa for the foreseeable future, I hope. Unless and until the true meltdown actually begins. We're going to move on. We're going to talk about some gaming. So, I don't know if you know, but a game came out yesterday or today, if you're in America. And that game is Oblivion Remastered. And in the 24 hours, not even 24 hours, barely even 12, not even that, actually, that it's been out, I grabbed it. It was only like, it was cheap in the Philippines. It was far less than the $50 it is in America. Grabbed it, installed it, played it, streamed it, quite enjoyed it. Frankly, I love Oblivion. I love Oblivion. It's a great game. Even the original is still very playable now, if you accept a bit of Bethesda jank and an old game engine and stuff like that, which is why they've remastered it. It's not just graphical updates. Some of the gameplay has been refined, smoothed out, brought up to scratch, and all that stuff. But it does look noticeably better than the original. I will explain what I mean right here. Here is a picture you will no doubt recognize if you ever played Oblivion. A picture of Emperor Uriel Septim the 7th during the introduction of the game. And, you know, voiced by Patrick Stewart, but looking kind of like a droopy-faced twat. I never thought he looked particularly regal. Looked kind of clueless. Kind of a spoon face. Played by Patrick Stewart. Voice acted by Patrick Stewart. Anyway, I never thought I never thought much of it. It was old graphics. It was, it's PS3 era, early PS3 era graphics. This is what he looks like now. I mean, that is quite substantially better. The animations are really far better than they were as well. The lip syncing is way better. You didn't know it was Patrick Stewart? Really? That's like one of the most iconic voices around. Okay. All right, Fenrir. Up to you. Anyway, so from this, to this, it's, really quite substantially better looking. And that's one aspect of it. I think this is a little bright. They need to turn down their brightness settings on this scene, but okay. Anyway, it's really not the point. The point is, that's just one example of how they've improved the faces, at least in this game. I'm not going to lie to you. I was quite impressed. I didn't expect it to be that good. The faces in particular blew me out of the water. I was like, whoa, that is way better. Like, way better. I was thinking it was going to look like this, but sharpened up a bit. No, they've like completely changed the character creation suite and everything. So they can do a lot more with faces now. They've changed some people's appearances considerably, like Balrus, for example, the guy who's like the Emperor's #1 blade. He's like a red guard, which is a black guy, basically, in Tamriel. And, he looks like he looks originally, but in the new one, he's real super duper black. So there's that. Now, the game, as it turns out, is in fact doing rather well. In fact, just over the time I've been streaming, it's picked up another 21,000 players. Right now, it's at its all-time peak. 14 seconds ago, it hit 176,755 players. That is really substantially good. That is good. It's #1 in top sellers. It's got 82% positive reviews. 195,000 people watching on Twitch right now. 460,000 watching, all-time peak 6 hours ago. Now, I'm not saying everybody has to like this, okay? And to be quite honest, my take on it yesterday even, or for you guys this morning in America, was, I'm kind of curious about it. Then I got to look at it, and I thought, oh man, it's so cheap. Like it was like half price for me in the Philippines. So I grabbed it. I was like, okay, why not? Fuck it. Let's play it. Let's stream it while it's relevant. Let's have a look. ride the algorithm a little bit. No harm, no foul. I'm a YouTuber. And play a game that I used to really love and see how it stands up now and how it's been improved. And it runs on basically everything. I'm playing it with a keyboard and mouse, but at one point I instinctively picked up my DS4 to start playing, and it just did. And I was like, oh wait, no, I'm keyboard and mouse. But yeah, so I was playing it. What time was I playing it? Like around here. yeah, it was. Wait, what's UTC? What time? What time are they saying it is now? Midnight? Wait, that doesn't make sense. So it was about 4 hours ago or so. So there was about 140 pounds. No, it was actually when I was playing it was about to tick over the 100,000 mark. Somebody told me while I was playing it. So we've now hit 176,000 peak concurrent players. It's doing well. There ain't no arguing with that. However, there is a controversy. There is a controversy with it. One that I'm not particularly pleased with, but one which I just blew past and basically ignored. And unfortunately, the controversy is that they have removed male and female from the character selector and replaced them with type 1 or 2. In fact, in reverse. 1 is female. 2 is male. Sorry, I was just reading. Yeah, I know it's on Game Pass. That's fine. I'm not necessarily saying that it's selling well. I don't think they want it to sell well. I think Ryan's right. I don't think they want to have to keep making games with Unreal Engine 5. Though it does look good. But so here's the thing. I fall into the category of anti-woke YouTuber, happily and quite proudly. I'm sick and tired of all this political bullshit. I hate it. I fucking hate gender ideology. I fucking hate racial ideology. I hate wokeness in all its forms, cultural Marxism. Get it the fuck out. All right? I despise it. I didn't play Dragon Quest 3 Remake because of Type A and B. And everybody in my chat said, you didn't play it? It was excellent. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I should tone down. Like, if the game is still good and it really doesn't make a difference, then, hey, maybe the Type A, B, whatever, 1 and 2 thing can be overlooked. But here's the thing. Playing the game, playing Oblivion Remastered, it's exactly the same. It's exactly the fucking same as it was. There's a few extra voice actors. The faces look noticeably better. The textures and environments are far superior to what they were. I do miss a bit of the sort of haze and the greener, more colorful look of the land, but in daylight it looks really quite nice, but that's really not the point. They didn't include pronouns, so you don't have to pick pronouns for your character. If you pick type 1, that is female, okay, and then you are referred to as a she. If you pick type 2, that is male, and then you are referred to as a he. So they're not woke enough to really care. They're paying cursory lip service to fucking inclusion, right? And as annoying as that is, you're talking about, I don't know how long it took. I was like, oh God, type 1 and 2, fuck. Oh, well, I'm a man, type 2 then. On we go. And then nothing else was different. It's stupid, it's asinine, and it's complete bullshit. Is it worthy of a hate crusade or a is it worthy of like a real backlash rather? No, I don't think so. I really don't. I feel like the game is the game, and it would be a very different story if every single fucking person you spoke to started talking about their race, started talking about their sex, if lines had been changed and replaced, if pronouns had been switched out and replaced. And I don't know, maybe I'll find something that has. Maybe there'll be an Argonian somewhere that gets referred to as they, them. That would piss me off. You're now changing it. You're now You're now making it something people cannot escape from. Okay? The whole point of this is that by bringing in the woke shit, the cultural Marxism shit, you are removing a person's ability to engage with the media in an escapist way to achieve the end goal, which is enjoyment and escapism through the medium, right? If you are being constantly Dad of the Fans is doing a little bit better today, I think, but I'll be checking on him throughout the day and see how it goes. Thank you. If you are, unable to engage with the media because you are constantly non-stop being reminded that a character is gay or that character identifies as something they aren't, and all that stuff, you have Dragon Age Veilguard. Okay, that's the problem you have then. Hi, Hypno. And if you are, that's the problem. The net result is I can't enjoy the thing. I can't enjoy Doctor Who because the Doctor is nothing like the character. It flounces around, minces, constantly calls people babes and honey, and it's just so constantly turning to the camera and going, hey, did you know? Ncuti Gatwa is gay. And it's really out, it pulls you out of it. This is the reason why we started campaigning against this shit in the first place. Independently, by the way, in no organized fashion. But this is the reason why I started making videos about it. It's the reason I started supporting channels who make videos about it, because at some point we just all started noticing that we couldn't enjoy anything anymore because we were constantly being sucked out of it by a crusade to replace key and fundamental elements of our lives and our culture with this woke fucking garbage, right? This is not what's happening in Oblivion Remastered. Yes, there is a type 1 and 2. It's female and male respectively. Once you choose it, you are dealt with the appropriate pronouns. You are exactly as the game was, effectively, in terms of the story. I haven't seen anything that's really noticeably different, apart from the faces, which, again, are markedly improved from the original. The gameplay is fun. It's the same old Oblivion with a few quality of life updates. It's fun. It's a good game. It's still Oblivion. At no point once I was into the game was I thinking about type A and type B or type 1 or type 2. In short, I was engaged. I was in escapist mode. I was having fun. Okay? And yes, Adam, if you don't want to engage with it, totally fine. Play the original. Play it with mods or don't. I thought about it too. Yeah, if you are fine with the original, then just play that. Yeah. I'm not here to do a sales pitch for the game. I think it's pretty good. I think it looks way better. I really wasn't impressed with some of the screenshots I saw originally. I thought they'd nerfed a lot of the atmosphere. And yeah, to some extent they have. But again, it didn't bother me. I got into the game. I played it. I had fun. I was enjoying myself. For 2.5 hours, I was enjoying myself. And so I don't feel like this qualifies on the same level as, Dragon Age Veilguard or Dustborn or Concord or any of that shit, which is just shoving these pronouns and shit in your face all the time. With Dragon Age Veilguard, the major fucking thing that David Jaffe said that made me laugh my head off was his ridiculous and fallacious premise that you don't have to engage with the trans crap. You don't have to be trans. You can opt out. Yeah, and then you still have to sit through the whole fucking crap with Tash and the pronouns and the barv and the cringe. And it destroys it because the whole time you're like, oh God, this game is woke. And as long as you're thinking that, you're not engaged with it. You're not escaping. The enemy that we were really fighting all this time was our ability to enjoy media. Okay? So, no, I am not happy about 1 and 2 body types. It's stupid. It's reductive rather. It turns natural binary opposition between male and female into 1 and 2, and also hierarchically puts women on top because they're number 1. But then again, once you get in there, there's no pronouns, there's no pushing of messaging. It's just Oblivion, but better. Just a general upgrade of Oblivion. So, you know, whatever you thought Oblivion was, it's that again. And maybe you'd give it the same score you gave the original because, you know, times have changed. It's been brought up to the level you'd expect in 2025 for a remaster of an old game. At no point was I having like an as moment. Exactly, Dramatic Law's got it. At no point was I like, I can't enjoy this because you are fucking screaming these pronouns in my face, right? At no point was I like that. I was like, let's go over here. Oh, there's a rat. Let's kill it. Okay, let's sneak up on a goblin. Shoot him in the head. Ha ha ha. Wow, that guy's face is fucked up. Wow, that guy's face is weird. Wow, I'm still really bad at the coercion minigame. You know? Stuff like that. In short, Oblivion. with way better faces. You know, I'm sort of actively looking forward to exploring Oblivion more because I only got to the first Oblivion section before I had to stop because I needed to rest before this stream. But I want to get back into that fucking game and go and run around that plane of Oblivion and go and get the fucking sigil stone or whatever it's called and tear down that gate and carry on and go meet Martin and see what he looks like with Sean Bean's voice. And then play the rest of the game. See what the avatar of Akatosh looks like. See what Mehrunes Dagon looks like. You know? I want to see this shit. I'm interested. So, at no point has this bothered me. But, of course, unfortunately, we're in this shit era of Gamergate now where we're post-Goonagate and the factions have divided, separated, and drawn the battle lines. So you've got radical leftists who are screaming because it's not woke enough. Need more pronouns, blah, 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 fucking whatever. I'm not necessarily talking about Oblivion with that, but just in general. In fact, douchebag retards like that airbag dickhead are on X celebrating because of the Type 1, Type 2, as if it's an own over the chuds. Newsflash, buddy. I'm enjoying the game. Suck it. Then you've got, of course, us, people like me, who, yes, I fucking revile wokeness. Cultural Marxism is what it really is. I despise it in all its forms, but I'm still able to enjoy myself because I don't find it beating me over the head with it. So I'm happy to take things on a case-by-case basis and try to be objective. As objective as I can be on a very subjective thing. And then you've got people posting, oh yeah, it's got body type brain rot. Boycott. And I'm like, well, yeah, I respect your right to make that decision. That's absolutely fine. If you find that a deal breaker, that's fine. You go right ahead. You go right ahead. If that's how you feel about it, and you don't want to buy this, you want to play the original, I can't stop you. I'm not here to sell copies of Oblivion Remastered to anybody, okay? I like it. And so a lot of people like it. And apparently, you know, 176,000 people playing it right now are liking it too. So there's that. In fact, let's refresh and see if that comes up anywhere. A little. Hypno's right. Absolutely. It's really not an actual boycott. Yep, here we go. It's 178,000 now. Another couple of thousand. Yeah, it's the usual suspects, unfortunately. And I don't normally pay any attention to these fuckers anymore. But I feel like if I have to talk about Alyssa Mercante, then there's a couple of other people I should probably mention who have taken their reputations and torched them over the last couple of months. Basically, everybody working at Fandom Pulse. Numerous gamers torched Bethesda for removing male and female in the Elder Scrolls to play. Oblivion Remaster forces every player to play as a trans character. John F. Trent. I used to respect this guy's work. Hell, we had him on SNH. I was pleased. It was nice to meet him. For years, this guy provided us with tons and tons of very well-considered arguments that we could use as a quick digest to be able to report the news and then offer our commentary on it, such as the format we've chosen. And now, ever since he met that rat-faced motherfucker JDA, he has turned into an absolute zealot. And don't get me wrong, he was always pushing the Christian shit. I know it was really annoying, but it didn't seem like it was something you could avoid. But now it's the fucking whole meat of his articles. Gamers are not happy with Bethesda for removing male and female options and replacing it with body type 1 and 2. Really? And again, I'm not here to simp or stand for Bethesda or Oblivion Remaster. I'm enjoying it. Your mileage may vary. Let's all just decide for ourselves. It's better that way. We get accused of trying to influence people or radicalize people. And I don't do that. I try very hard not to do that. A lot of you in the chat, are Christians, Jewish. I got a lot of Jewish people watching my shows, apparently. It was a lean month. Thanks, Passover. That's cool. But we're all different here, right? I'm agnostic. I used to be atheist. I used to have a lot of anger about God and stuff. I'm much more calm about these things now, and I'm happy for everybody to fucking hell. My mum's a bloody hit. I'm happy for everyone to practice whatever the fuck they like. Yeah, Dramatica Law's autistic. Exactly. Everyone is free to be who they are, worship what they want, and of course, keep it to themselves. That's it. I don't need this preaching shit. If you are acting like a religious zealot for Christianity and you're fucking overly trad morals and ethics and whatever, you're not any different from the left. They're screeching about their ideology. You're screeching about yours. You're all zealots and you're all fucking imbeciles. So, yeah, we've got the usual shit. Yes, it does say type 1, type 2. Yes, it is annoying. It is a little annoying. The character creation suite, as you can no doubt tell, is way better than it used to be, by the way. Way better. Not only the models are better, but also the angle is better. You're not shoved up right close to the face so that you can't really get a good look at it because it's like walleye, like fisheye. It's not radiating light at you so you can't really see what the character looks like in daylight. You know, it's not that situation at all. You got a much better character creation suite. But yes, a few people may have complained, and they probably will. And in fact, you know, lots of people, like Grums, complained. We'll get to Grums in a second. But before you listen to these people, by the way, I'm just going to point out something here. You may call me a hypocrite, but again, I would urge you to find a level where you can understand where I'm coming from with this. This is Miss Rachel. And trust me, this is not too much of a tangent. This is Miss Rachel. She's a kids entertainer. She does baby videos, baby education videos. My little daughter watches them all the time. She fucking loves this lady. And this lady has saved me and the wife from a lot of fucking headaches. I don't mind telling you. When we're both absolutely run ragged and the baby needs something to look at for a little while, this is very adequate. Yes, she is a liberal. Yes, she did put out a video telling everyone to go and have a happy Pride. For my own sanity and the logistics of my household, I chose to ignore that for the very simple reason none of it comes up in her videos. None of it comes up in her show. I've checked. The closest you can get is one woman who appears in some of her videos who's got pierced up and a man haircut and wears flannel shirts like a typical lesbian. And she can't sing and her recording is terrible. So I always skip her videos until it gets back to Miss Rachel, who just teaches kids nursery rhymes and happy fun times, numeracy, literacy, and all that stuff. And also, I will point out, it doesn't have any of the same issues for parents among us. Okay, do not let your children watch Coco Melon. That is actual brain rot. Okay, this is much better. I endorse this. Okay, the same people who are currently crucifying the Elder Scrolls for putting Type 1 and 2 in, which is a completely ignorable thing that you can move past very quickly and get on with the actual game that doesn't beat you over the head with ideology, decided to blast Miss Rachel for having a second child with a surrogate. As it turns out, the lady is unable to have children herself, which is, of course, typical fucking like fate and irony. So she's had 2 kids, I think both via surrogate. John F. Trent decided to refer to this as robbing a mother of her child. Okay. And calls her an LGBTQ activist. There she is with her little baby. You know, I was unable to carry this pregnancy for medical reasons. We're blessed to have a surrogate who gave us the most precious gift possible. We're now all family forever. We have immense gratitude and a deep bond. It's been a truly beautiful experience. I'm in awe of her. I don't want to imagine what that must be like to have to go through. I do not want to imagine what that must be like for anyone involved. It must be very difficult and yet also wonderful and terrible and all of the above. Some things are beautiful in their horrible complexity. Okay. And if you can't see that in life, you're watching the wrong channel, frankly. James up for $5. Grums started it, then got the game and fell in love with it. He never played the original. Their interpretation of religion is purely performative. Yeah. Is it interpretation you said there? What is that word? Interpretation. Oh, I don't know. Yeah. Thank you, James up. Yes, for 5 and appreciate you very much. Yeah. See, you guys are getting what I'm saying. I was appalled by this. Like, I was genuinely offended by this article. It's worse. It gets way worse. As we go down, there's a point actually where they refer to it as hang on. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah. Then they got the Catholics in here. It's gravely immoral, apparently, to do surrogacy. So what would you prefer? Abortion? Well, no, that's different, isn't it? Because surrogacy is when you use somebody else's DNA and it gets inserted into you for you to carry with your working uterus. Hell, there was a fucking miracle story from Scotland that came out about a month ago or 3 weeks or so ago, where a woman donated her uterus to her sister who didn't have a working uterus in order for her to be able to carry and give birth to her own child with her husband. She had to be on immunosuppressants the whole time. But I mean, that actually is part of like pregnancy anyway, to some extent. Like, the woman donated her womb to her sister so she could have a child. Now, that's a little bit radical, but it's just kind of another form of surrogacy. They refer to it as a child being purchased. And just as slavery is gravely immoral for the way it assumes that human beings can be bought and sold, so too is surrogacy. Okay, and I've been waiting for a reason to talk about that. I was kind of hoping it would never come up, but I really do have to stress, if anyone out there is taking their fucking morality advice from John F. Trent or John Della Rose or Yorch or any one of those fucking grifters, you seriously need to have a word with yourself. Now, to Grums then. And Grums did indeed begin, and this is the height of fun. Now, unlike a lot of people that I stream with, I do not despise Grums. And welcome, UAF Omega, Nathan. And thank you for coming. You're just in time. A lot of people I stream with now have come around to hating Grums. A lot of, like, about half of the people on SNH, for example, in that group, really have a problem with Grums. I don't have a problem with Grums. I'm not involved with Grums. I'm not close enough to what he's done or who he's done it to or whatever to know enough to comment. So I stay out of it. Okay. But I do know that he can get a little terminally intense with this stuff from time to time. And it sometimes ends up felting him. JDA is a thief and a grifter. They are all grifters. Oh, you don't even get me started on JDA, buddy. He's one of the only people I actually blocked on X, because otherwise I was just going to keep getting myself banned. This motherfucker called me one of those words that we never say because it includes abuse of children. You know, not into that. Not into being called that either. So Grums reported that Oblivion Remastered came out with body types and removed male and female. He said, why did they do this? There was zero need to change this. Bring back the original. The campaign begins. There's just one catch. Body types replace male and female. Okay, keeps going. Yes, it's on Game Pass. Official launch trailer. Okay, 70,000 players. Holy crap, it just came out and had 70,000 players. This is while I was playing it. Then there's all this. Obsidian forums are full of questions. People are finally starting to notice and talk about body types. To me, body types isn't just a deal breaker. I just want to see the return of male, female as the default. Yeah, I would too. I certainly would. It's not a deal breaker, he says. Okay, good. All right, so he's already kind of starting to calm it down. How long's that been? And don't get me wrong, I'm not here to felt Grums. I'm not here to get a fucking win over Grums. Like I said, I don't care. I have no strong opinion about Grums. I like what he's done. A lot of what he's done. I don't like some of what I've heard. I'm not getting involved. 9 hours. So within 3 hours, he was now on the fence. Right. That was about marathon. In just 3 hours. Oh my God. It keeps going. Keeps going about male and female. This will be interesting. Never played Oblivion before or much Skyrim. I'm completely enjoying Oblivion Remastered so far. So 5 hours later, he's got the game. He's playing the game. It's a lot of fun. Except for beautiful female characters. I tried. Definitely has the AAA ugly lock on that. Oblivion always had ugly women. I don't know what you could do about that. Then again, when I tried Skyrim, it was the same then too. I think they were just incapable back then of making attractive looking women. They've never been very good at it at Bethesda. So there we go. Now he's back to promoting it. So yeah, Grums has given up as well. And I was going to do a reaction to a RadART video about it because I haven't seen that. But we are at the 2 hour line. And I don't have time, frankly. So there we go. In any case, guys, I did a stream. It ended about 6 hours ago, playing my part 1 of Oblivion Remastered. If you don't really know and you want to see how I arrived at the conclusions I've got, go and watch it and see for yourself. Make your own mind up. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not your dad. And you don't need that from me or anyone for that matter. And the people who come at you preaching certainty with terminal intensity when it's something that's not particularly that bad, they're grifters. I hate to say it. I hate that I've been put into a position where I have to unironically use the term grifter now, especially because my audience I refer to as the grift force. But frankly, I don't want to be lumped in with these fucking cancerous people. I don't want it's just, again, more twisting of facts. Again, your mileage may vary. Everyone should just go ahead and make their own damn minds up. That's what I think. So we're going to wrap this up in a little while. Where are we? We're about $10 short of the goal. Oh, well. Never mind, I suppose. Unless anyone's feeling kind right now. But yeah, Oblivion Remastered. I want to play it again. I have to go through Suikoden 2. We're going to finish that hopefully later today. And we also have this project. We're talking about making a game. I need to get that off the ground. I need to get that underway. Obviously, there's a lot going on in my personal life at the moment. I need to check on my dad, make sure he's okay. Hopefully, I don't have to take him to hospital and get absolutely rinsed for thousands and thousands of pounds, which would be devastating to my plans. Yeah, hopefully that all improves by itself, but I'll keep you posted. Not sure exactly what time I'm going to stream gaming later. Depends on how the day goes. I've got videos to make. I've got stuff to push. I will try and get as much gaming out as I possibly can today, because I still owe you for at least one stream. I think I still owe you one stream for last week when you filled the bar and I didn't get to do it. So thank you everybody for watching. Appreciate you all for being here. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Special shout out to Callum Oliver for doing about half the bar himself with various super chats, and James Opp as well. Of course, as always, guys, support Gamergate 2. The truth is there. Come and support the streams when I'm playing games, and I will be doing more of them for you. And that's it from me. I'll leave you with the outro that I badly need to update, and hopefully will by the next stream. Till then, enjoy Hypnocast or wherever you're going, and I'll catch you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.